2022, we'd be completely debt-free from both Lake Danune and the high school.
The $55 million is strictly the updates and the changes we're making to the schools. The athletic package
That's a
that we talked
separate,
about is
separate component.
a separate component.
Two questions. I was wondering, is that the only site that was available for building a new?
Yeah, they actually, at the time, the board and administration looked at a number of different opportunities and options, and we still kind of continue to look, and that was the best spot, you know, as far as the purchase of that land, as far as space and access.
So we don't own, I thought we owned, somebody owned the land already, the county or the Muskego already owned it.
We do own that property.
Okay.
We own it outright. We bought it in 2008, and the property actually is very well located for the student population it's going to be serving. So most of our growth in our population center is along that Durham-Moreland corridor. That's where all the new subdivisions are going to be going in the city. We have a lot of farmland to the, what is that, southwest part of the city. There's a lot of farmland. There's no sewer pipe out that way. So there's a direct correlation between the length of the sewer pipe and new development. So you can kind of do some of your planning that way. And we also have Lake Danune out that way. So by having a middle school in one part of our city and then having another one in the other part of the city does make sense. At the time in 2008, the other thing the board was finding out is every vacant piece of land in the city of Muskego seemed to already have have either be outright sold to a developer and still being farmed, or had development rights already sold on it. So it was a very limited source of what we could use. However, I would still go back looking at this property. I think it is a key piece of property to buy, and I'm quite content with the
The
purchase
other
of
issue
it.
was there was a lot of wetlands in the areas that were available.
Right.
So it's very tough.
For buildable property, yeah.
How many acres is it?
52?
57.
57 acres.
And that piece just has a little bit of wetlands in one corner, so that's not a problem, whereas many of the others we looked at, right smack in the middle, there are huge parts of it, so it was almost impossible to grow something big.
And did you say that one would have a gym on the lower level, or where was the gymnasium?
We haven't positioned the gym on which floor level. We would try to keep it on the upper level so that it has easier access for parking.
Small, maybe it's
It was
just
just,
small
it's
in there.
intentionally drawn as a square or rectangle now as to not get people, we often hear, I don't like that curve or that angle or that corner. So the hope is that if people in the community agree that a middle school on that site is an appropriate place and they agree to fund it, there will be a lot of detailed development, and I believe we will commit to as open a process as we are now, sharing those designs as they develop with the community moving forward.
Okay, and then question about the Muskego High School, the 1 million, is that for the band stuff and the pool, or was that just the band?
No, the pool's separate, it's the band and the STEM, so the
Okay, so
technology
what was
program.
the pool?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Any other questions that I can move on? So what we just wanted to do was show, again, Dr. Thompson had showed back here that there was overall support for each of the individual projects, but when we actually surveyed the total cost of the project at 55 million, this is where some adjustments happen. So this graph shows from top to bottom, definitely yes, definitely no, the support for the overall cost of the base plan of the 55 million, 60% yes, and this was for all residents. But what we needed to do was actually take out and really focus on the non-parent, non-staff residents that usually makes up a majority of the community and people taking the surveys and the people who are voting. So we wanted to get a good idea of where the 55 million stood with just that group as well. And again, it was 60% with all residents. It drops down to 44% yes when we pull out that segment of the community. So again, overall support for the individual projects, but not the total cost necessarily. So here's the swimming pool information. Again, Jeremiah had talked a little bit about the details. The total project cost for a pool is between $7.5 and $8.5 million. So when we look at the property tax mill rate impact, it's about 24 cents per thousand. So again, separate from the 53 cents, this would just be the pool. And when we surveyed support for the pool separately, again, for all residents, 50% of the community did feel in support. When we pull out the non-parent, non-staff residents, we're down to about 37% support for the total pool project. And then again, the details of the outdoor athletic fields, a total project cost of about $6 million if we were to move forward with everything. The property tax mill rate would be about 18 cents per thousand of impact. So on the survey, all residents, there was 47% that would support those outdoor facility improvements. Again, less than what the pool support was. And when we pull out the non-parent, non-staff residents, it drops to about 33% support.
It's definitely no support though.
What was that?
How come the definitely no support went up once you pulled out the non-parent, non-staff?
Yes.
How come that went up?
Because there's more people that are definitely no.
The parents and staff
Yeah.
support it, the non-parents.
Right, the
that don't.
non-parents, non-residents maybe don't see the value of those improvements as much as people who are actually invested in the schools.
Okay, I understand that, but why did that number increase when you pulled out non-parent, non-staff?
It's a different
Percentage,
population.
the percentage increase, not the dollar, not the number.
Percentage
The
of,
percentage of definitely no.
yeah, it went from 23% to, oh, so the,
It's the percentage of the, so there's 23% that voted definitely no. Of the 23%, 35% of that are the non-parents.
So for each of those questions, the 55 million and the 6 million and the 7.5 million, did you do any sensitivity analysis to see what it would be if the numbers were only 40 million or 3 million?
No, we didn't. We talked about that, but when you get that convoluted into a survey, we just didn't know. We wanted to just see from a support perspective.
So, I mean, you don't know really, and I'm not being critical, but you don't know whether the opposition is to the dollar amount or whether the opposition is to the concept, and they'd be willing to support it if you could scale it back a little bit.
For the pool, oh, go ahead, Rick.
And
Sorry.
we can get a hint of some of that through the comments that were added